Welcome to Freedom Fridays. The title for today is Relational Intelligence. Yes, so last 2 weeks I've been sharing on relationships and freedom in relationships, and mainly I was talking about how in your inner and primary and first circle of a relationship, you have to express yourself freely, you have to accept the other person unconditionally, and you have to love wastefully. You can't take account of how much you've done or keep a record of wrongs. This is your relationships for life. And being present in your relationship is something we discussed last week. But today I've taken this interesting sounding topic, relational intelligence. There is an intelligence in your relationship that is needed. And today we're going to talk about those intelligence in our relationships that we need. So first of all, let me tell you that there are priorities and categories of relationships. So that is our point number 1 in relational intelligence. That is, prioritize your relationships. When I have been saying in the last 2 weeks, your primary circle, your first circle, that has to include obviously your spouse, your children, family, parents, friends who are like family. Not necessarily everybody is your blood relation, but you have some friends who are very close to you. They're in your primary circle. So you should be clear that there's a primary circle in my life. Then there's a secondary circle. People in my community, in my relatives, some other people around me. Then there's a third circle, my work people, acquaintance, my neighbors, and they can be a fourth or fifth, my hi hello people who I just see and smile sometimes. So there's so many people in our life. We are filled with people around us, and there's so many relationships, but there has to be an order. You have to understand that there are prioritizing relationships and categorizing relationships. You should be clear in your heart and mind who is who for you. I'm not telling you to make a list for you or go and tell people, oh, you are my first circle, you are in my second circle. No. God has given us wisdom. It is for me personally, inside my heart, inside my mind. I know these are my permanent relationships. These relationships are for life. I want to invest in those relationships. These are my primary relationships. Then the other one can be secondary and third, and that whatever category you want to put who, that is your business. But there has to be some kind of order in your mind, in your heart. We cannot act so insecure in our relationships that we run after people. Sometimes you can pick and put someone in your primary and first circle, very close to me, she's very close to me, he's very close to me, and you are nowhere near the third and fourth circle in their life. A lot of confusion, a lot of expectation, pain, struggle, and I have done that, and you must have also done that, but you didn't know how their things are called primary or secondary. But you have to come to a place where you're so secured in your relationship with God and your relationship with yourself. You're filled with God's love for you, you're filled with your love for yourself, and you're secured in your primary circle, and you're not running after people to get, and people, sometimes you can be in someone's primary list and they can be in your secondary. So there has to be an order. You should be clear in your heart and mind. So point number 1 for relational intelligence is prioritize your relationships. I have seen people sabotaging and crushing their primary relationships just because they are fulfilling what they have to do in their second or third circle of relationships. You cannot deny or neglect your primary circle to meet the needs of your secondary or third circle. The second point is disconnect without dishonor. Disconnect without dishonor. So this point especially for the second or third or fourth circle of your relationships. Some people in our life we have to be aware of. You have to be aware of some people in our life because they are energy drainers. They will come in your life, they will come in a conversation, they will call you, they will meet you, they will suck out all your energy in one shot. I have made I've made a nice list here and I would like to share with you. Number 1, they can be all the time negative people. They'll just call you and they'll talk to you about COVID, they'll talk to you about Trump, they'll talk to you about all the negative possible things going on around the world, and they'll come and call you and talk to you and tell you and converse with you, and it's not like once in a blue. They are consistently negative. Anything that comes out from their mouth is negative. You have to be aware of these kind of people. Second is fake. They always pretend. They never be themselves in front of you. They always fake it. I had a very close friend and I had to just little disconnect with him because I never knew, was he ever real around me? Because for me, he was always putting a mask, showing off something, pretending. So I don't want to be friends with somebody who is actually putting a mask and being someone else. So beware of these kind of people. Then there are gossipers. Of course, let me tell you one thing. If someone is talking about someone else in front of you, then surely they're talking about you also. If you think you are receiving all the gossips, oh, this is my gossip partner, she gives me all the information, then you are a gossip in her some other conversations with somebody else. So keep away and beware of gossipers. If somebody comes to you, sit with you and starts talking about somebody else, tell him, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And I've done that. If I'll tell them, either talk about you, talk about me, don't talk about anybody else. Another kind of people are victim mentality people. They'll always, when they meet you, call you, message you, it's always about them. In Hindi we call Rondu people. They're always crying about something. They're always victimizing themselves. I'm a victim. She did this to me. He did not do this to me. Every time they come in touch with you, they tell you their stories which are sad, and in their story, they are always the victim. So you have to beware these kind of people. Boring people. So by boring, I don't mean they are boring. They are boring for you. For example, if people who just do mind talks or small talks, for me they are boring. And if I'm talking some spiritual stuff or something else, for them maybe I am boring. So you have to find out your kind of people who will have the same mind, same conversations. You cannot afford to... What problem was with me? I always want to be kind and gentle, never offend anybody, always be nice to people. So I have given some people so much of my time and they have bored me. They've really bored me, but just to be nice with. And when I come back home, I have nothing to give to my family because I spent all my energy in getting bored just because their uncle should not be offended. He should not feel bad if I'm cutting him. You have to nicely disconnect with some kind of people. Another category is controlling people. Some people just want to control you, like your boss or some emotionally control. These people are so insecure that they always want to give you little bit because they want you to be dependent on them forever and they want to control you. You have to be aware of those kind of people. And the last thing I've written is unfaithful people, or they have betrayed you in some form. I'm not talking about pyar mein dhoka and all. Maybe your friend and someone did something not so good with you and they've hurt you. Literally they have not been good and they've hurt you and you're heartbroken about something. So you forgive them, don't hold any resentment in your heart. But my advice to you is don't go and have coffee with them or fellowship with them. It's okay. It's okay. You have forgiven them. You have nothing in your heart against them. But there's no need to again start the relationship unless that person is genuinely changed or genuinely apologize. So these list of people I have tagged or called this second point is disconnect without dishonor. Nicely, quietly disconnect. You don't need to entertain these kind of people in your life. Of course, they cannot be in your first primary circle. If they are, you can't disconnect with them. Because if you think you are bearing with some people, they are also bearing with you. This is, I'm talking about your third, fourth, fifth circle, wherever people are, and they're just draining out all the energy from you, and you have nothing left for your primary circle or for yourself or your time with God, your relationship with God. Everything is just spent with them. So be aware with these kind of people, disconnect with them, but don't dishonor them, don't put them down, don't talk about them, but just gently disconnect with them, because disconnect is not dishonor. Point number 3, in relational intelligence we are talking. And point number 3 I've written is teach people how to treat you. Yes, sometimes you have to teach people how to treat you. I always say this, self-love, self-care is not selfish. To taking care of yourself, just giving some attention to your needs, it is not selfish at all. You have to stand up against abuse. any kind of abuse, be it verbal, physical, mental, emotional, you have to stand up. Nobody in this world deserves abuse. You might think I've made mistakes, I've deserved this. No, you do not deserve it. It's okay. And one of the reasons why we accept abuse from people or bullying from people, because we somewhere think we are not worth it. Maybe we deserve these kind of things. So let's it's okay. Let them say this. Let them do this. I made this mistake. Maybe I'm not a good whatever relationship title you have. I'm not good husband, wife, children, parent. So let them. It's okay. No, it's not okay. You have to stand up against abuse. When you hear the word abuse, you think of a man is physically and verbally abusing a woman. But my friend, there is another kind of abuse called mental and emotional abuse. And a lot of men are suffering with that. And I encourage you, my friends and brothers, stand up. You don't need to go through abuse of any kind. You don't deserve it. See, teaching people how to treat you, I'm not saying or telling you to go and be evil or hurt people or do anything wrong to them. I'm just saying that if somebody is consistently and regularly exercising their selfishness on you, their mood swings on you, their struggles, and it's not one shot or sometime it happened once in a blue, consistently for years and months they have been harassing you and abusing you and doing all kind of things with you and exercising their selfishness on you. I'm just telling you to tell them enough. That's it. This is the 5th time in the week you have done this to me. This is the 20th time in this month. This is the 200th time in the year you have done this to me. And it's not a one-day thing. It's become consistent. It's become regular. And I am just telling you to stop. It can be very gentle. It can be very silent. You don't have to fight, yell, my rights, this right. Just go to them and tell them, see, I've been observing some things. And it's not today. It's been happening for months and years now. I've been taking it, but I feel this is abuse. And I don't want to take your selfishness anymore. You are not being rude or hurting or selfish. You are just saying, stop selfishness against me. That's all. And if you tell somebody, stop exercising selfishness on me, I don't think it's your selfishness. It's your self-care. It's your self-love, and you have to do it. I always say, offend egos, but never hurt hearts. When you say no to people, stop, the ego will be offended. It's okay. You're not breaking any hearts, hurting any hearts. You're doing good. Just standing for you. You have to stand up for abuse. You do not deserve any kind of abuse. I have done this and it was not easy. I know this topic is also not easy. Relational intelligence and all the things that I'm talking to you, you might not have never even heard about these things. I never heard. It's just recently that I've learned these things and I've realized how much I have gone through just because I was unaware, just because I thought I deserved it. No human being on earth deserves abuse, be it any kind of abuse. You have to stand up. I know this is a sensitive topic, but it's okay. I know some people can take this, what I'm speaking, and twist and turn and use it for their selfishness. I'll ignore them. But I know there are 90% of people who are actually struggling, going through stuff. They don't know how to order their relationship. They don't know how to prioritize and categorize their relationship. They're mixing everything. They're making nice khichdi out of the relationships and they're thinking, why my life is messed up? Why this person is offended, that person is hurt, so many things are happening in my life, so many relationships, dramas are happening in my life. Because my friend, you have not learned to prioritize your relationships. And you are entertaining some energy drainers in your life. These people are just sucking everything out of you and you're not even aware of it. There's nothing left in you to give to yourself, to your relationship with God, to your relationship with your family and your primary circle, because everything has been sucked out by these kind of people. Stay away, disconnect nicely, quietly. You're not dishonoring them by disconnecting them. You have to understand, some relationships in your life are seasonal. That season can be 10 days or 10 years or 20 years. But if the season is ending, you are choosing and your heart is showing you a different path to walk on, it's okay to let them know. It was still here. I'm going to a different path now. You have been traveling to a different path. I know we've enjoyed a lot of time together, but right now I need to make a decision and walk on a different path. I'm not dishonoring you, I'm just disconnecting because we're walking on different paths now. As simple as that. And third, please, I know this is not a regular thing you have to do, but maybe few times in your life you have to do this. Stand up against abuse and teach people. If you keep on treating me like this, I'll walk off. I'm not saying leave them, but just check out for a while. Let them change and realize that they cannot abuse you all your life. That's not how it works. You do not deserve abuse. Just nicely talk to them and teach them. This is not the way you treat me. It's not today. It's been happening for years and months, and I'm telling you to stop. And when you are doing this, please understand you are not being selfish. You are just stopping people to exercise their selfishness on you, which is okay. So I just hope I have conveyed some kind of liberation in your heart. I will come back next week with more thoughts on freedom and relationships. Till then, see you. Take care.